Hello and welcome to justindwyerartistry. Today we're doing a pastel drawing of a small pug. We're going to be looking at contrast, we're going to be looking at balance, we're going to be looking at tone, and we're going to be looking at complementary colours. I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching, and let's get cracking. Today I'm doing a pastel drawing of a pug. I'm using soft pastels for this drawing. I will use both soft pastel sticks and pencils. I don't have any loyalty to any particular brand and will be using multiple brands in the drawing. I keep all my pastel sticks in boxes of similar colours: red and yellow, green and blue, brown and grey, and black and white. The pastels will still get a bit dirty, but I can quickly clean them with a rag or a paper towel, and this will keep them fresh and bright on my drawing. I'm drawing on blue pastel paper with a very coarse tooth. The paper will hold many layers of soft pastel and other mediums. The blue paper will work very well in the colouring of the dog, which is an orange-brown colour. The reason this works well is because blue and orange are complementary colours. The blue is also a cool colour and will work well as a background, as it will move back in the drawing. The orange-brown of the dog will come forward as it is a warm colour. This will result in the dog popping out of the blue background in the finished work. I've laid out the basic shapes of the dog with a sienna, burnt umber and a warm yellow. I roughly draw in the tongue shape with light pink. Before starting to apply the pastels, I made a rough pencil sketch which marked out all the main features. This makes it easier to get all of the shapes correct once I start to apply the pastels. I add a warm red to add some shadows to the tongue. I will blend other colours to this later to achieve 3D rendering, but for now I just want to get the colouring correct. The pastels will layer quite well, but keeping each colour separate will help retain the intensity where it's needed the most. It's easier to add some other colours to reduce intensity later than it is to bring it back if I lose it. The intensity is an important part of making the image jump out at the viewer in the final result. I take a black pastel pencil and draw in some of the darkest areas around the eyes. The black will contrast very strongly with the lighter colours around it, and this will draw the viewer's gaze. Contrast is an important way of directing the viewer around the drawing. In this drawing, I will keep the darkest darks and the lightest lights in the face of the little pug. This will draw the eye instantly and keep it absorbed in the most important part of the drawing. I've slowed the video down to real time here to show you the care that I take with this step. The black will be difficult to remove or cover completely, so it's important to get each mark in just the right spot. I keep checking my reference constantly before I make the mark. I sometimes even practice the stroke in the air before I draw to cement very firmly exactly where the line is going to go and how much pressure I'm going to use. I take great care with the eyes. This is the make or break point of any portrait. It can be challenging to get both eyes looking directly at the viewer or even at the same spot if looking away. The best way to handle this issue is to look very carefully at your reference and draw exactly what you see. In time, as you get better at drawing what you see, you will be able to achieve a better likeness. Of course, in your drawing, you can draw whatever you want. That's why there's more than one artist, because we all see the world in our own way. I keep building up the areas of darkness with black. The dog's nose and some parts of the mouth will be just as dark as the eyes. Getting the darkest areas in now will help me to balance the remaining tonal values in the drawing. This black is the darkest I can go, so it will give me the end point of my value scale. As I look at the value of the colours I choose for the rest of the drawing, I will be able to compare them with the black areas and make a decision as to whether they are correct or not before I use them or blend them. This will help me achieve an accurate three-dimensional modelling while keeping the colours fresh. I begin building up the shading in the fur with the burnt umber pencil. This will add some dark areas to achieve the rendering that I want, and it will also blend with the other colours underneath and replicate fairly accurately the colours that are found in the dog's coat. Taking an orange pencil, I start building up the lighter sections in the eyes. One eye is in the light and will reflect more light. The other eye is in the dark and will reflect less light. I will represent this effect by using more saturated colour in the light eye and less saturated colour in the dark eye. More saturation will bring areas forward and increase the contrast. Less saturation will push areas back and cause them to blend in more with their surroundings. I will use this same principle all over the drawing. What I want to bring forward, I will use lighter tonal values and brighter colours. What I want to push back, I will use darker tones and colours that are not as bright. As I achieve the colours and tones that I want, I will start adding in marks to create texture. The fur of the dog is made up of many tiny hairs. I don't have the time or the patience to draw those in individually. Instead, I will make many short lines next to each other that run in the direction of the hair. As I layer the different colours, these will build up into the appearance of the dog's fur. I'm using a light yellow with white mixed in. This is a light colour that helps me add lighter tones without adding too much intensity. Colours that have white added are called tints, and the white desaturates the yellow or any other colour that it mixes with. Black does the same thing and is called a shade. The majority of colours you will find in the natural world are tints and shades. There is virtually nothing in this drawing that will be left as a pure, fully saturated colour. The remainder of the drawing is really just continuing to refine things. Each time you add something, it will change the appearance of the other things in the drawing. Step back from your work often to check how it looks from a different angle. Try turning it upside down, as that often highlights areas that need attention. Try looking at it through the camera on your phone. If you have trouble judging the tonal values of a colour drawing or reference, you can use the mono filter on your phone camera to have a look at both your drawing and the reference, and you will soon see the areas that need work. I keep making small adjustments to the drawing. Adding black to some of the dark areas will help sharpen up those lines and add contrast to the light areas nearby. Sometimes I want to rest my hand and get more control. I try to avoid resting my hand on the drawing as it will smudge. Even using a piece of paper on the drawing to rest my hand will still smudge the soft pastel, so I grab any long object nearby to use. In this case, it's a paintbrush. I rest it on the drawing board with my non-dominant hand, and then I rest my drawing hand on the brush. This allows me to work the fine details with better control and no smudges. I return to the dog's tongue and start to refine it. I add and blend some white and pink into the existing colours. I also use a deeper red in some areas. I use this sparingly, as it will jump out of the painting and will become the focal point if I overdo it. I have to be careful to allow the dog's face to balance with the massive contrast of the pink tongue. I'm attempting to achieve this by creating a very strong contrast between the highlights above the dog's eyes and the dark triangles of the rest of the face. The face is actually just a series of triangles that will lead the eye down the page, but by keeping the yellow mass just above the eyes, the viewer's gaze will be drawn back to the top again. This creates a loop effect where the viewer's eyes will travel a path and return again. At least it will, if I've gotten it right. I add a few blue touches to the drawing. The blue will complement the oranges in the drawing and help us push back some areas that have come too far forward. If your goal is to draw as realistically as possible, of course a dog won't have blue hair. I just like to use some colours in my work to add interest, emotion and energy. These are factors that are more important to me than absolute realism, and you will always find me distorting something in my work to sacrifice some realism for my own self-expression. And that's pretty much it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave me a comment below if there's something you'd like to say. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day and bye-bye.